the virgin birth and resurrection and all sorts of things, and miracles and etc. Okay, and so fine, that's okay with me. And then another guy did the same thing, wrote what he believed and so forth. And then the book is about what he did believe and why it was there. And in the first place, they pretty well demonstrated that the book of the Bible isn't how most Christians view it. Most Christians operate that the Bible is a treatise by God, you know, and what he said was how you ought to do it is to view it as 88 separate essays written by different people.
Right.
Okay, and so it's not going to be the same. There are contradictions all through the Bible.
Certainly. Especially in the New Testament.
Yeah. And so, you know, if you're conscious of that, I've tried to tell people that in the church, you know, and I get almost no one to agree with me. But Jesus, I mean, you can prove it. I mean, there's no question about that.
Right.
Now, most of the members of my class tacitly believe it, but then sort of don't also, because they think they ought to believe it.
Right.
And that's the way I was for years as well. I ought to believe this, but I do believe that in faith. And faith isn't anything to do with religion. It has something to do with just believing something. And
in absence of evidence.
Right. But just believing, well, it could be on anything. I mean, I believe that you are wearing a tie. Well, okay, that's faith. And then later, when I'm not seeing you anymore, I say, okay, you wear a tie occasionally. That's on faith. Okay, well, healing too. For example, I believe that people can be healed through faith, but not necessarily faith in anything in particular, except healing. And not faith that Jesus or God is going to do it for you.
But faith in the actual result.
Is what?
But faith in the result.
Right.
So,
For the process.
I mean, we really don't have time to go. I opened a big can of worms here, right as I'm about to leave. But, I mean, is there a difference between faith and belief? Or are they the same thing to you?
Yeah. The difference in the book, Aquarian Gospel.
Which gospel? What gospel?
Aquarian Gospel.
Aquarian.
Okay, he defines this that there's belief is what we believe to be true, and faith is what we know to be true. And there's a difference there. A mighty great difference, because if you have, for example, a cold. I read about a lady that was an opera singer that had a terrible sore throat 3 hours before she was supposed to go on the stage and sing, and she had a backup, of course, to do it, but she just said to God or to the angels or whoever, I don't know, but she said, I need to get well here. I know it can be done. And she just meditated on that. And a half hour before she was to go on, she was healed. Okay, that was faith. Now, it doesn't make any difference if it's true or not. The point is that for the purpose of discussion, that's what faith is. That faith is knowing that something's going to happen. But when people pray, they usually don't pray knowing, they're pray hoping.
Right.
And that ain't not faith.
Prayer, by this definition, is not an act of faith.
Yeah. Okay, so faith is a psychological thing,
It's
sort
a
of.
state of mind more than an action.
It's what?
It sounds like what you're saying is faith is something that can't be performed in the way that prayer is performed, right?
Same thing. Prayer is the same thing. When you pray, if you pray knowing, then it would come about. And then some people, you know, like they pray to God to heal their kid who has something, appendicitis or something.
Okay.
Okay, and if they pray knowing that it will work, that the prayer will work, then it does.
Mm-hmm. That's
the theory behind it. That's
right.
Faith. That's not hoping. That's knowing.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I hear what you're saying. It's tough. The idea of praying for your own health, I almost wonder if it's in a different category than praying for someone else's health, having the same effective quality. Does that make sense?
Well,
because that person's body is not aware of the healing being done through someone else's prayer, unless it's one of these sort of Pentecostal type things where everybody's together, or like a shamanic soul calling ceremony or something like that, where there's prayer, but there's the person who is sick there as well. Because then it makes sense that the sick person is aware that they are being prayed for. But if I'm praying for someone somewhere else and I never tell them that, how does my deep faith in the power of prayer going to get to them?
Okay, but I think that works out okay, because if for example, Siddhartha, your Siddhartha, is ill, and the kid is really young yet, and he has the flu or something, and he's suffering. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can make the assumption he does not want to be suffering there. He wants to be well. If you have the faith to cure him and do so, and he's healed, doesn't make any difference whether he was aware of it or not. He's now healed.
But what is the agent that healed him? What healed him?
What?
What healed him?
That knowledge of you, your faith, heals him.
I don't understand the mechanism.
What?
I don't understand the mechanism. I mean, like, I mean, this is a big can of worms we just opened up here, so we'll have to pick it up again. But I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, let's say for instance, let's simplify it sort of in a bit. Let's say for instance, me healing someone else or praying for someone else. Let's say for instance, I have something wrong with myself, and then through faith in my own, faith in myself or whatever, I put myself in a position where I believe that I have faith that I will get better. Okay, then my body starts to operate from the perspective that I'm getting better, and so maybe the chemicals or whatever in my body and my body start to release that I'm healthy.